Okay, Miigwech, Vijay Kumate. We're from Neskantaga First Nation. It's a Northern Ontario community. It's a remote area. As some of you have heard probably on the media, you probably know us by, we're one of the longest serving boil water advisory communities, going on 26 years. And it's important to know that despite all the issues we're facing as a community, we recently suffered a suicide in our community just after the New Year's, and still today the extractions of our lands and our resources are still happening. We have governments that are issuing permits in our lands, traditional lands. We live on the Ottawa-Abascut River. It's one of those river systems that are going to be crossed in order to access the Ring of Fire, and that is our traditional homelands. And our community has said all along that we're going to defend that land. We're going to defend that river system. If it's to go on the land, that's what we're going to do. Our chief and council, our community people, our elders have always stated that jurisdiction and title lies within our people, within our communities. And that's something that's very dear to our hearts and our community. It's a remote area, Neskantaga First Nation, and there's neighboring communities around us. We're right in the middle of the proposed development. And there's been very little engagement, little discussion in terms of getting the free, prior, informed consent of our people. That has to take place before any decisions are made to how they're going to access, if in fact they're going to be allowed to access our land. That decision lies with our people. That decision lies with our community. And it's important. It's important that the respect has to be given to our people. Today, our young people are able to go on the land without any disturbance. They're able to fish. They're able to hunt. They're able to practice their way of life. And that's something that we cannot exchange for measly $1 or cent. And that's something that we'll fight as a community. We have a community process in place that allows engagement. More importantly, that allows the consent of our people. And today the government of Canada, the government of Ontario, the proponent, the industry is not able to get that consent from our people. Until such time those decisions are made by our people, access to our land is a no-go. Because we know how important it is to maintain the way of life of our people. When our young people go out to the land, it's a different feeling. It's not like here. It's a remote area. It's very pristine. There's a lot of life on the land, and that's what allows us, to have a strong position on our traditional lands, to be able to say what's going to happen on our land, not somebody else to dictate how that's going to be. There's proponents that are coming to our community wishing to access our land, and yet they're getting permits from the government without our say. And that has to change. That has to change. If we are going to fight on the land, that's what we'll do. And we're going to be calling upon our brothers and sisters across this country, even in Turtle Island, even internationally, to come and join us and protect the land that we cherish. A lot of our people are still we still go on the land as a traditional people. We still practice our way of life. My dad is 79 years old. He still manages to go on his traditional area, and that's something that we cannot trade for development that's not going to take into account how we're gonna protect the environment, how we're gonna protect the animals, and how also we're gonna continue the way of life of our people, not just today, but for future generations. And I think that's something that we need to be mindful of when we're talking about First Nations up north that are remote, that have a very different way of life compared to, let's say, a larger city like Toronto here. A lot of people don't understand that we still use the land for sustenance. We still use it to feed our elders, to feed our families. We still fish and hunt, and those are very important values that we cherish. And we will do everything in our power to ensure that we protect those values and beliefs that we believe in, for not just today, but for generations to come. So miigwech kitnagom for listening to us. I think it's important when we take our stand, we have a very strong position in terms of how we view our land. It's a very it's interconnected with everything that we do as Anishinaabe people. Because kigiyod namin, we got those gifts from the Creator, not from the policies and laws of the government. We got those gifts from the Creator, and that's what our people stand for today in our community. We're a small community of 300, but we consider ourselves to be a very strong and diverse community. We know what we are up against. We know that we're going to take a lot of heat in terms of standing for our what we believe in, and we're going to need your support. We're going to need your support to stand with us if we're going to truly protect and assert our rights as First Nation people. Miigwech kitnagom, on behalf of Neskantaga, we thank you all for listening to us, and hopefully we can fight on and you can help us. Thank you very much, Miigwech.